I'm assuming that longer than. I'm assuming that longer than.
Good morning, Ekoji, and welcome to our Sunday morning service. My name is Frank Squithers. I'll be your service chair today. We are grateful for your presence, and our service is being streamed on YouTube and Zoom also. Welcome to all those online. If you're new to Ekoji, please find in the seat back in front of you a copy of this laminated guide. It will help you with the service today and answer any questions about the service order and the history and essentials of Shin Buddhism. Our main priority is to keep our Sangha a safe place here at Dharma. Although we're very happy to see each other, please be mindful of others' comfort levels. And we do have a mandatory mask policy, so please be mindful of that. Thank you very much for your understanding. On the 19th today are our maps, Eric Ishii, Bob Shimakaji, and Rob Pike. Now it's time for meditation and recitation of the Nembus. Eric.
Meditation provides a pause that prepares the mind to see the Dharma. Please place your hands on your right, lower your head slightly, and release tension.
In your service book, please find the laminated sheet. And we will now sing the Vandana to Swarana, the three refuges. Please rise. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami. Please be seated. And please turn to page 39 in the service book. We will now chant.
Say
Our message will be given by Oh, Maya. Oh, Ken. Excuse me. That's what I get for not checking beforehand. Let me try this again. The message will be given by Ken.
Good morning, everyone. Today, those in the Hondo and those who are joining us online, I welcome you to our regular Sunday morning service. As we continue on the Buddhist path together, this time we do so without a resident minister. For Reverend Hayashi and his family are on their way to his new assignment at the Tri-State Buddhist Temple in Denver, Colorado. As you know, we have been in this position before, or as many of you know, we've been in this position before. We will have a supervising minister to help us, and we will have the friendship of many, like the VDK, like the temples of the Eastern District, and elsewhere, all over the place, that we can call on for help. But there are a couple of things, in my opinion, I think we ought to keep in mind as we go down this path without a resident minister. The first, in my opinion, is that many of you know Shin Shonin, the founder of our denomination of Buddhism, never considered himself a teacher with disciples. Rather, he saw himself as a fellow traveler, sometimes teacher, sometimes student, progressing along with everyone else toward the Buddhist goal of enlightenment. So we repeat, just as we did today, the Vandana Tisarana, part of which goes Saranam, Asangam Saranam Gacchami. I go to the Sangha for guidance. And this is where we, as fellow travelers, help each other. You know, I get a whole lot of satisfaction and joy in joining the Dharma discussion that takes place right over there, or else on your screen, as we discuss the Dharma and what we've heard and how we reacted to it, and participating in the movie discussions led by Anne and Jordan Stedman. Also, in my opinion, we might keep in mind what Reverend Hayashi told us a couple weeks ago, I believe, where he compared us to rivers and streams, some with rapids, some without, some wide and some narrow, with different levels of purity, all moving toward the Dharma ocean. And Reverend Hayashi would say each of these streams and rivers had their banks, had their boundaries as they moved on. And Reverend Hayashi said those banks, those boundaries were Amita's compassion and his wisdom in guiding us to our goal, to the Dharma ocean, all the way. And so with these considerations, I would like to share a discussion I had a while back with a close friend. He's the director of the American Buddhist Study Center in New York. And he wrote that we live in two worlds simultaneously. The first of these worlds in which we exist is the one taught to us by Siddhartha and passed on to us by numerous eons of ministers and teachers, and even by our own children's Dharma school have we learned about this world. It is a world of impermanence and non-substantiality, of interdependence, of cause and effect, and its implications, and the idea of causes and conditions coming together and dissipating, underlying the concept of dependent origination. And also in this world, we learn of oneness and the recognition of the existence of suffering and discontent in our lives. The second world, in which I am unfortunately firmly ensconced, is the delusional world, it's secular world, with society's norms and values of diversity, judgment, attachments, ideas of me and them, all driven by my ego. Among the 8 sufferings of this world are the 4 human sufferings of birth, old age, sickness, and death that afflict all of us. And the other 4 sufferings are mental sufferings afflicting us, one of which is living an unenlightened life. Even as I exist in my delusional world, I would tell my Dharma school students that our attachments would be the source of our suffering in the end. But even while saying that, I personally continue to hang on tightly to my attachments, to family, friends, home, status, and so much more. You know, I love my family and want to keep them from harm. I hurt when they hurt, and I quietly celebrate when we are together. But we are reminded of the truth of Siddhartha's teachings that all is impermanent, especially when we lose a loved one. Sometimes also we experience the impermanence of things as we change and our values change over time. For instance, when I was working, one of the things I was really concerned about was my work reputation, what I was thought of in my profession. But as I retired and times went on and I changed and my values changed, it didn't seem quite as important anymore. And while living in Siddhartha's world of oneness, I still fail to realize that oneness because I simultaneously live in my delusional secular world of good and evil, reward and punishment, me and them, on time and late, as I was today, and hot and cold. I like this, I don't like that, and so much more as we divide up the world we live in. A while back, Reverend Hayashi talked about there not being a good karma or a bad karma, but just karma. And that the values we place of them as good and bad are the values that we carry inherently within us. But that is part of the secular world. So, when I was in high school in New Jersey, I took a friend of mine to a seminar given by my then resident minister, the late Dr. Shoyu Hanayama. And he was talking about the compassion of Amida Buddha for all sentient beings. And in the non-rejecting compassion that brought us to the universal truth, the Dharma. And as I was driving my friend home, he told me, it can't be that easy. Hitler should rot in hell for eternity. My friend, my parents' friends were survivors of the Holocaust, and his total family was made up of him, his sister, and his parents. And so I knew where he was coming from. And I think we could add on to that list of people who should rot in hell. But Reverend Hayashi would point out that in making that list, we are applying our own concepts of good and evil as part of this secular world in which we live. But I am finding that as I exist in my delusional world of distinctions, of fairness and unfairness, of ego attachments and blind desires, I am also seeing more and more the effect of how Siddhartha's world impacts my delusional world, because I exist in both. The Buddhism we're taught, in the Jodo Buddhism we are taught in the Western temples, does not really give you commandments about how to bring these worlds together. There's no real black and white, but just a heck of a lot of grays. There are no commandments like the 10 Commandments, but rather suggestions like, I shall try not to kill, or I shall try not to steal, and so forth. And the fourth of the Four Noble Truths says to follow the Eightfold Path for our enlightenment. But it isn't particularly clear what is meant by right view, or right thought, or right speech, and so forth. And even in Amita's 18th vow, it says that all sentient beings will gain enlightenment, except for those who commit the 5 basic evils of causing a Buddha to bleed, committing matricide and patricide, and so forth. However, in recent explanations of this exception clause, especially in the West, there seems to be a sense that that exception clause is not all that firm. And that when we say all sentient beings, the 18th vow means all sentient beings. And the highlighting by the calling out of those 5 evils, it seems, was a way to try to keep us and emphasize it, to keep us from actually doing those things. So we might try to resolve our existence in these 2 worlds. BCA Bishop Marvin Harada wrote in a recent article on how to address this inconsistency. He said, the teachings give us the foundation to make some of life's more difficult decisions, and then to live with that decision. Morality and ethics change with time. Laws and politics change with time as well. Amidst this often chaotic world that we live in, we must find the true and the real, the timeless, the truth of the Buddha Dharma that transcends morality and ethics, that transcends secular law and government. That is the foundation for our life and spiritually guides us in the choices in life that we must sometimes make. And so, as I live in these 2 worlds, perhaps as I call for justice and accountability in the case of Hitler or some future Hitler or some mad gunman with an AR-15 doing mass killings, I need to realize that if I had the same causes and conditions, I could be that Hitler, or I could be that crazed gunman. And because of the causes and conditions that came together, perhaps as our Sangha member, Matthew Dubrava, suggested in an earlier Dharma discussion we had over by that screen, we should cry for both the victims and the perpetrators. Or when the Taliban destroyed those 2 centuries-old Buddhist statues in Bamiyan in 2001, the general Buddhist reaction, which was somewhat different from the world reaction, seemed to say it was unfortunate, but they were impermanent stone statues and nothing more. Or when parents can forgive a killer of their children, I don't know how they do that. There is an important perspective from the Buddhist world that is yet to touch my heart. And I am starting to realize in my 70+ years, although understanding that holding on to my attachments to family and friends, among others, will be the cause of my sadness and grief, I continue to hold on to them and grieve when they come to an end. But by recognizing the impermanence of all things, there is a deeper gratitude of joy in my heart for what they have shared with me while we were together. Reverend Kuwahara of the Jodo Shinshu International Study Center in Berkeley said that an objective of Buddhism is to get to know ourselves through deep introspection. Our Sangha member, Art Brown, once commented that it is amazing how introspective Shin Buddhism asks us to be. As I am starting to get to know myself, I realize that I am not able to leave my self-centered world and live in Siddhartha's real world. After all, I am a householder Buddhist, clinging to attachments, driven by ego, and carrying an unrelenting blindness to the truth of things. I am the one just that Shin Buddhism was meant for. Perhaps, as Bishop Parada suggested, I should see the teachings as the foundation to make some of life's more difficult decisions. But then I am also the one, to borrow Mali Kuromoto's phrase, when challenged about being Buddhist, responds, I said I'm a Buddhist, not the Buddha. So in the end, as a householder Buddhist, there's one spiritual truth that I hang my hat on. Like the ocean, incorporating the water of the wave after it has broken on the shore, my heart tells me, even I, along with the most accomplished and kindest of people, am encompassed in Amita's non-rejecting compassion, just as I am, becoming one with the universal Dharma. So as fellow travelers, let's talk and support each other and share how we live and experience this life in these two worlds. You know, Reverend Niketa, the New York Buddhist Church would say, we are right where we're supposed to be. The causes and conditions that go back to the eons and continue to now all come together so that we are here and we can listen, we can share. So let's talk and let's share. Namo Buddhas. Namo Buddhas. Namo Buddhas.
Thank you, Ken, for joining us. It's now time for the ritual of Ashoko, the burning of incense, trying to quietly contemplate and reflect on the impermanence of life. Ashoko involves drawing incense from a shared bowl, and we understand that individual comfort levels may differ. We offer this option to those who are comfortable doing so, but note that the ritual is not required. We invite you to come forward to the front table, offer gasho, and should you wish, place any dana, which is the offering of gratitude to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha in the bowl and on the table. Dana is selfless giving and is used to support Ekoji's facilities, temple materials, our service books, and important programs and activities. To gasho is placed our palms together through the circle of beads and a renju, and it's an expression of gratitude. By doing this, we welcome into ourselves the three treasures, the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. If you're new and would like to participate but feel unsure about the steps involved, a Sangha member wearing a kesa will be available on the rear of the Honda to accompany you and walk you through the process. premises. Please approach mindfully, and once finished, please return to your seats via the side out. And we have placed hand sanitizer on the piano and on the table in front of the computer for your convenience. Eric will now lead us in meditation and recitation of the nimbus. Time for our summit announcements. Immediately after the service today, there will be a Dharma discussion group. For those who are in attendance here in the Hondo, if you'd like to participate, please pull a chair up to the computer. And those who are online, please just continue to stay in the room and you can participate. Also today at from 12:30 to 3, there's going to be an office reorganization party. Reverend Hayashi's and other temple offices are on the second floor over in the other building. And we need some volunteers to help clean and reorganize that area. Basically, it's going to be sorting supplies, filing paperwork, dusting, vacuuming, rearranging, furnishings in there. So if you would like to participate, we'll be starting immediately after the Dharma discussion group ends. And next Sunday, the 21st at 2 p.m. in the Ekoji Zoom room will be the Buddhist movie discussion group. The movie that we're going to talk about next week is called Ikiru, which is available to stream on HBO Max and Amazon Prime if you're interested. Just go to the Zoom link for RSVP for the movie discussion group to get the Zoom link. And our gratitude to Ann and Jordan for hosting that event. And finally, our in-person meditation group meets on Thursdays here in the Hondo at 7:30. No prior experience is welcome or is required. All are welcome. Come as you are. If you're new to meditation, you can come a few minutes early and we'll give you a couple of pointers on how to start. And our gratitude to myself and Roger for hosting this event. Those are all the announcements for today. Have a wonderful Sunday, everyone. Have a great day.